Welcome back to the North American Hub's coverage of the grand finals of the Americas Qualifier here at the TI4 Qualies. I'm AC, this is Fear, and it's been a hell of a series so far, man. You predicted you predicted 3-1, correct?
Most of us did, I think.
Yeah.
But
I went 3-2.
Yeah,
I went 3-2.
right.
And I've been wrong a lot, imagine that. So who knows? We'll see if they can, if NAR can clinch this. They actually lead this best of 5, 2-1, and Team Liquid is down to their final gasp. They are guaranteed a seat, a trip to Seattle, I should say, to compete at TI, but they'll have to be doing it if they lose against 4 other second-place finishers coming out of this qualifier. So make no mistake, a lot on the line. NAR just 1 game away from being secured a spot in the overall field. The draft is already underway, and we'll jump right into that and take a look at how things shape up. Going to be a very early pick Brewmaster coming out from NAR, as well as Keeper of the Light. We'll talk about that in a moment. Shadow Fiend this time picked up for Team Liquid to go with the Darkseer. Now, Brew and Keeper of the Light, 2 heroes that have been talked about a lot on air as well as a lot off air. 1437 plays a phenomenal Keeper of the Light. We know that without a doubt. The Brewmaster, though, predictions from a lot of folks, myself included, you included, of a hero who was going to start seeing a lot more play.
Yeah, Brewmaster, I think, will be trending a lot within the next couple of months coming up to the International. I mean, his skill set within the first, like, especially for teams like NAR, who like to fight early, take towers, and snowball off of that. Brewmaster is one of those heroes that it's really hard to fight into. Unless you get a silence off on him or keep him down in the early stages of the game, it's hard to fight against him, so you're going to have to do the split push. But basically, the way I would summarize this draft right now is grab everything you can before it gets banned. Like, all of these heroes seem to get banned in the second phase. So, like, all right, there's a trend. Once you play a best of 5 against a team, you know what they're going to start banning. It's like, all right, they're going to ban this stuff. They don't want to take this now. None of these teams want these heroes right now, but they know they're not going to get them if they don't take them now. So we see a lot of weird kind of picks in, like, a best of 5s as they start winding down. Just trends start getting picked up. So Brewmaster was banned last time. Keeper's been banned every single time, I want to say, from Liquid. So North American Rejects takes those 2 right away. Shadow Fiend and Morphling, another 2 heroes that Quakeful loves playing, and they knew they probably wouldn't get it unless they got in the first phase, so they chose it really quickly. But I do like the direction Team Liquid's going. All the drafts I've seen so far from Team Liquid is they've been lacking team fight.
Yes, absolutely.
In a major way. And this time, Shadow Fiend Darkseer secures their team fight right now. Those 2 heroes together are ridiculous in team fights. But at the same time, North American Rejects have the Brewmaster too. So right now, draft's looking pretty even.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of the thing that stands out to me too. When I look at the front 2 from both teams, these are two picks on both sides that could snowball extremely hard. Whenever you talk about a Darkseer who maybe has a really good early game, gets up a very quick mechanism, allows his team to start pushing towers. Shadow Fiend, if he gets off to a great start, he just gets out of control so quickly because of his flash farming capabilities, especially when it comes to the jungle as well. And for North American Rejects, Brewmaster, we've seen him dominate, but we've seen him shut down as well. Think about a Keeper of the Light, though. Again, it's a hero that got buffed in the latest patch. His Ag Scepter buff is gigantic, and everyone was kind of curious if that was going to play out the way everyone on the forums, etc. Everyone was excited about it. A lot of folks thought it might be overrated. Don't know that that's really the prevailing opinion at this point anymore.
I mean, I think we still need to see more out of it. A lot of the teams especially haven't abused the fact of like the heal it gives you with the Ags. I think that's something that has not been abused a lot. But Coddle overall, seeing a lot of play, a lot of success too, I want to say. I mean, a lot of the earlier stages it was losing a lot, but at this top level, it seems to be having a lot of success for these 2 teams in particular. And Brewmaster I want to talk about as well. He's been doing really well in the laning phase, almost winning his lane most of the time, but he's going to have a harder matchup this time within the Shadow. I mean, you can deny him a little farm, throw the Drunken Haze, that seems to be really popular. I know, I think it's Snaw who plays Brewmaster a lot. He goes first point in Drunken Haze and just throws it on the enemy and just it makes it really hard to last hit. And here's another typical pick from Team Liquid. And I have to say, right now, this 1-2 lineup right here with the Wraith King Shadow Fiend is one of my favorite 2 picks in the game right now. It allows Shadow Fiend to build pure damage, and it allows him to like have a hero go in there. Wraith King just gets in there, he dies, makes everyone slow, gives him tons of time to get his right clicks off, his Requiem off, whatever he wants to do. So I think those 2 heroes complement each other really well.
No, I agree, and the Darkseer in particular works even better because what you can do, like you said, there are so many builds you can go with a Wraith King. Becoming more and more popular is the idea of just a fairly quick blink. You're not going to rush it at the detriment of everything else. Once you get a Blink Dagger up, you're willing, more than willing, so long as you have the mana for Reincarnation, to just blink into the team, stun a target, and then the rest of your team follows up, but you have to be a little contained. But if you do it right, when the Wraith King dies, Darkseer is there to vacuum everyone right on top of his corpse. He comes back up, has another stun at the ready for a primary target. Then Shadow Fiend moves into position, using his raises, using his right click to just clean house. NA rejects, well, I mean, they've got decent answers to all of that, though. You're going to have Blinding Light for Keeper of the Light to help mitigate some of the damage coming out from the Shadow Fiend. That oftentimes is a little bit overlooked, I should say. It's also going to be hard for him to get out of fights if things do turn around when you have a Shadow Demon, who I would imagine is going to be using Demonic Purge on him just to keep him static to allow the rest of his team to re-engage.
Indeed, and what they really need right now, they need something for snaking now. They need something late game, some type of hard carry, and there it is. It's going to be the Luna. And the feeling I really get when I look at Team Liquid's draft is this is pretty stock standard EG draft. I want to say when EG gets Shadow Fiend and Wraith King, they have a 100% win rate with these two heroes. RTZ on the Shadow Fiend, and then Zai usually plays the support on. Just those two heroes are so strong together, and they've ran it so many times and never lost with it. So it makes me a little excited to see Liquid gets it, because I know the potential this lineup has for them. When they get this Darkseer, Shadow Fiend, Wraith King lineup, it is so strong if they can pull it off correctly.
I feel like Korok's really going to have a lot on his shoulders this game on that Brewmaster. Every time we've casted him together, and even just talking about it when you see it in other matches, so much of it comes down to his effectiveness straight from level 6. Level 6 split from Brewmaster is gigantic in terms of its power, in terms of what it allows you to do, to dive towers, to turn fights around, to take what could be a 4-on-2 and turn it in to a win for yourself just because of the power of it at level 6. So he has to be effective, especially when you have a Luna, who if they're able to keep the Brewmaster down, they're going to be able to apply even more pressure to the Luna and slow down that farm on snaking. And then what do you have to fall back on? There's just not enough farm to go around if you're trying to prioritize like that and still giving up picks. I like Team Liquid's next draft in the Dazzle, though. I think that helps them immensely.
Yeah, this is EG's probably saying, please no copy pasta right now. Because this is exactly what they would pick in this situation. North American Rejects, I do like their lineup a little bit. Definitely like Liquids more right now, I have to say. Feels like North American Rejects are missing something. When you get the Shadow Demon and the Keeper, you're lacking disables. Brewmaster does have some disable within his ultimate, but it's not really that significant. And Shadow Demon and Coddle aren't great ganking heroes. It means Shadow Fiend has the free reign in that middle lane for the most part. They might be able to get Shadow Demon on gank or 2 on him, but if Koiku smells it out or he doesn't die to that gank a couple times, they don't really have a backup plan of killing him, especially because no heroes right there can really deal with him when he has a BKB and the Shallow Grave and the heals coming out from the Wraith King and the Dazzle.
It's something that kind of jumps out, and I want your thoughts on it. Is like I say, a Luna and a Brewmaster. You know, Luna becomes a monster late. Brew tends to be a monster early and mid. These are still two heroes, and if Luna does end up either having to come to fights or wanting to come to fights in the first 20 to 25, basically you've got two heroes that you have to fight around their ultimates. Like at that stage of the game, you have to have Brewmaster's ulti ready. You have to have Luna's ready. Whereas with Liquid, that's not really the case. Like Liquid can take a fight with these heroes, a lot of low cooldown, high impact abilities on all of their heroes that are going to allow them to fight around that. You think that's going to be a big point of a big point that they're going to want to emphasize as they look to apply pressure in the mid game?
Yeah, I mean, so far the Luna for me is I haven't been feeling it lately. Like Luna's been being played a lot, and I haven't been seeing too much success for teams that want to be aggressive. NAR's a team that wants to be aggressive. Right. And most success I've seen out of Luna is when you play passive, get really farmed into the late game. We saw it last game they picked Luna. They got crushed. I'm afraid like Luna's not one of their strongest heroes. They could prove me wrong. Maybe it was just a fluke game. Who knows? But it doesn't seem like they're the type of team that just gets together early enough for Luna to be more useful than like a Dragonite would or a Lycan or something around something like one of those type of heroes. And the Nyx Assassin on top of it doesn't give that oomph I was really looking for in this lineup. So for the first time today, I must say I like Liquid's draft better than NAR's.
Yeah, I'm right on board. Waiting to see what their next pick's going to be. They actually banned the Kunkka out with that last ban on the side of NAR. Puck, the ban that Team Liquid opted for. If you're in the drafting chair, what hero do you think is going to... Oh, never mind. We'll get the answer anyway. It's going to be a Weaver pickup. And, okay, we've been talking about Liquid's lineup versus NAR's. We both are on the side of Liquid. Let's talk about what you're thinking if you're NAR and you're looking at what you're up against. What's the game plan?
I mean, for NAR, you really have to deal with the early game one way or another. They need to get ahead early. Playing against a Wraith King, Shadow Fiend, Weaver, Darkseer in the late game, there's no chance. I feel like, yeah, there's no chance. Unless they get outplayed, of course. But they need to start getting tier 1 towers. As soon as Panda ult comes online, they need to start going for towers. But I'm afraid it's going to be very hard for them to do that if Wraith King gets like early level 6. Because once he gets level 6, he just runs at them. And he doesn't care if he dies. If he dies, they win the team fight because that slow is going to be so ridiculous. Right. So I'm not sure what their game plan is going to be. I think at this point they just have to outplay them within the early phases, and they have to make the first couple Panda ults really good, and it's going to be extremely dependent on Nyx Assassin on how much work he can get done to buy them time as well.
The Shadow Fiend, in particular, I feel like is going to be in a great position this game because they have so many abilities that can turn a fight around. You know, a good vacuum wall can reverse a fight very quickly. More importantly, though, that Shadow Fiend, who is usually notorious for being very easy to bring down until he gets nice and big and fat, BKB and what have you, now he's got Dazzle. He's going to have Dazzle not only buff up his armor with a weave, but he's going to have Dazzle with a grave too. So if you try to focus fire him down, suddenly that's all for naught. He backs out of the fight, and he's going to be in good shape. One would imagine it should be a fairly quick mechanism on a Darkseer. Darkseer, one of the best heroes in the whole game at just getting up those items for the early to mid-game team fight sort of situation. But enough theory crafting, we might have Dota to play as we see. Yeah, they're right on top of each other. And
Snaking
Demon
leading for some reason. They're just chasing them out. It looks like they had no intention of getting kills down here. What's going to be really interesting for me just to start off the game is how Quakefa decides to build. Against the Brewmaster, usually when RTC plays against heroes that has a hard time getting early CS, he'll go early point and raise at level 1 just so we can get those early CS. I think that could be a viable option for him this game, seeing that Brewmaster is very, very strong when it comes to like getting denies on Shadow Fiend because it's low base damage, especially if he chooses to get that 1 point inside the Drunken Haze.
Right. And he is saving for a bottle. Has been pulled tango. Same thing with the with Korok. Horn blows, and we're underway. And what could be the final match of the Americas qualifier here at the North American Hub, presented by Monster Energy. North American Rejects leads this series 2-1, looking to seal the deal and looking to guarantee their spot in the overall bracket at TI. Again, both of these teams going to Seattle, but a win here is really huge. Like it's so easy to be like, oh, they're all going to TI, it's fine.
Yeah.
The grind of the preliminary phase of TI and knowing you could be left out at that point has got to be just, I mean, it is absolutely monstrous. So make no mistake, it's a moment of desperation for Team Liquid. The lanes are taking shape up. Hang on, in mid, we've got two already rotating through. That's going to be Fogged, and that's going to be 1437. Quakefa trying to make a run for it and dodges that gank.
He does go for the Raze build as well. He didn't get it, unfortunately, but it'll allow him to get some early CS here that he normally wouldn't be able to get. And the story for NAR is going to be how much can Brax get on this off lane. And it looks like he's doing a lot better than that other Titan game and getting experience. But there's going to be a gank up on top lane. Will Bulba get back in time? I don't think they have the damage regardless.
Yep, Bulba has a point in a surge, and yeah, he's actually going to do some damage himself. So that's fine. Come get me. I got you, brother. And a disruption just to buy Falk some time to pull back. He's actually pulling creeps down at bottom. We can see an engagement on the Brax. The Hellfire Blast stuns him out, does a bit of damage, but for the most part able to make it back here in mid. Slight lead for the Brew over Quakefa. Of course, that could be accounted for from that early rotation. But, yeah, I think these lanes are basically exactly how we anticipated them.
Right. This Brax is going to have a much easier time this game. If you check the bottom there, they didn't find that ward blocking the camp. They straight couldn't find it. You have to eat a tree to get into there, but they didn't think of eating that tree, so that's going to be blocked up for the full 4 minutes.
In mid, Korok eating a lot of damage, actually wasted a bottle charge there as well. Not sure how many he has on him overall, but has a few. And now finally, looks like Way2 able to bring down that ward. Clap in mid as Korok tries to get the equilibrium going back the direction he wants, but certainly looks like Quakefa is stabilizing quite a bit. The offlaners both, I think, are going to be, for the most part, okay, as Bulba's almost level 3 now.
Indeed he is. Brax is doing all right, too, almost level 3. They're, like, exactly the same as far as CS goes, and that's always going to be advantage for the Dire as well. If you can get experience on the Dire, that's huge. Big stack from Bulba, so he's going to pull up an experience here for sure after getting this. But I think the gold will most likely go the way of NAR.
Gold he can make up. I think just having a Darkseer that gets this much experience this early on, and look, now he's even got a few that are going to be up under his tower, so he'll be able to get plenty of gold. Nyx Assassin, not quite as safe in the off lane, as we see that's the reason why. Bulba using Surge. Carapace is nice, but you can get around it if you're really good with how you chain your abilities. But so far, Brax has been keeping himself safe and putting himself in a real nice position. He's the exact same level as Bulba, as of right now anyway.
Yeah, one big thing for me this game is a lot of the games I saw Shadow Fiend played in this tournament, they were doing way better than they should have in the mid lane. It's much more even this time, which is good to see because whenever Shadow Fiend gets that like 15-16 minute Midas BKB, it feels like the game's over.
Yep. And we can see, yeah, Korok playing right up in his face. And a raise is there for a little extra CS and damage, but a very quiet early game early on. And, you know, you have to imagine Liquid is, like, if you're in Liquid shoes right now, Are you much more likely to want to pressure the map as soon as you feel like you're ready, or are you much more likely to just take any kind of a lead you have and just try to maintain it while you get everything online? In other words, timid, hold on, that thought, as Brax is.
Some harass.
Yeah, just some harass. I didn't know if Way2 was going to try to toss a stun or not, but do you think Liquid's going to be more likely to be timid or be aggressive?
I think they don't need to be aggressive at all. When they have like the advantage of having Weaver and Shadow Fiend and Wraith King as their cores, even Darkseer's a great late game hero. The longer this game goes, the better it is for Liquid, as long as they're not losing all of their towers.
And everyone playing back. Take a look at the overall CS. Luna leads the way with 21. 18 for the Brew in mid. He is 5 ahead of his laning opponent, the Shadow Fiend. 18 for Weaver as well. And let's talk a little bit about the Weaver pick. He was the last one to come out. How do you feel Weave's going to fit into the overall gestalt of what Liquid's trying to put together to salvage their run?
I think Liquid, all their plan right now is like, all right, we're not on the same page right now, guys. Like, we're not getting the combos off that we need, so let's just farm. So they just chose a lineup where they could farm. Korok in mid, he might be in some trouble here.
Raises there. One last auto attack would have been enough to do it. But Korok able to make it away. And Fogged was right there to help just in case. And we can see Korok going to scurry all the way back and keep himself safe. So a lot of near misses, but for the most part, everyone keeping themselves breathing.
Yeah, that was really big, actually. Fogged had to waste a smoke there, too. He was about to gank mid. Korok almost dies, which means Shadow Demon has nothing to do with this smoke. So not only does he dodge a smoke gank there, he also builds another advantage for his laning phase.
Bulba making his way back up the top. He's on his way to a soul ring. Should have it momentarily. And looks like he did take out that heart camp. But at 5 minutes in, how do you think this is going for both sides?
I think it's almost dead even. I'll check the gold graph, and yeah, it's pretty much dead even. We've got a little bit of experience advantage going one way, but it's really, really close game. And I don't think it favors anyone at this point. It's going to be around the 15-minute mark is where if the game's still even, it's going to be heavily in Liquid's favor.
I think it's going to be a game in general where it's hard to look at something and be like, oh, this favors one team or the other, because they're so strong in so many different phases of the game. It's not like Luna's bad late game. But, you know, if Luna's doing awesome and Shadow Fiend's doing okay but not great, I feel like that favors NAR. But if Luna's doing awesome and Shadow Fiend's doing awesome, I actually feel like that favors Liquid with the composition they have.
I agree with you.
Hooray, got something right. Brax being forced back up under his tower a little bit, but still keeping himself alive. Fogg's going to rotate up the top. Let's see if they want to take a run at Bulba. Bulba's at half health. Will he get there in time? Nope.
The problem with NAR right now is, like, they have nothing to deal with the Darkseer. Like, they can get the disruption off, but what's next? Maybe
wow, in mid, the split, and Quake's going to be pursued behind his own tower. Burn damage alone will bring it down. Dazzle was there to try and help him out, but good micro, as we saw. He actually used the Air Spirit to toss Demon into the air. Now, though, they may get a return kill. Still think this is going to end up favoring NAR, even if they do manage to get the kill. 1437 doing what he can, does a bit of damage. Now a little bit of right-click. One last Hellfire Blast, and Brew ends up dying. However, the important point there is that was more or less solo experience gained by the Brew against the Shadow Fiend when he killed him, and 2 supports splitting the Brewmaster experience.
Right, that was really good play from Qual, getting that solo kill. He's doing really well against the Shadow Fiend, a lot better than I expected him to do, to be honest with you.
Top, looks like we might have an engagement. Yep, there was a disruption up at top, and now Bulba forced back, hit with the Lucent Beam. Fogged, unable to pursue him out, so the Surge was there. Wasn't sure if they were going to have the damagers 2 stacks in the Shadow Poison. Oh, Lucent Beam, that might just about do it.
Yeah, he has 2 stacks on him. I don't know if that's enough damage, though.
There it is.
No,
nope.
Not enough. Only level 1 on the Shadow Poison.
Yeah, I didn't know what level he'd put into
I didn't check until I thought it was level 2.
Yeah.
That would have killed him probably, but level 1 doesn't do much damage at all. So he gets out there. Problem with NAR's lane as usual, just they have no way of dealing with the Darkseer. They have no stuns. Like, they have the mini stun, so he can just surge away and just be fine almost every single time. Which is why he's so far up on the CS board compared to the Nyx. Nyx will die in this lane if he gets caught by a stun and the Weaver getting behind him.
Korok being assisted by 1437. I love what they just did. Basically illuminate the wave as soon as it hits the Brew, clap, and guess what? 200 gold. Done. Dunskies.
And his build is he's going max mana. So the Chakra Max is being maxed first, which is going to give him tons of spamming potential and a lot of farming to be done.
And it looks like they might even decide to push. Brewmaster will have his ultimate up in 20 seconds. And this definitely strikes me as a game where every time that's off cooldown, they're going to want to use it somewhere. Like, I don't think it's going to be a hold on to it and wait for the perfect moment kind of a situation.
Right, no. He's going to want to use his whenever he can to kill the Shadow Fiend, especially because Shadow Fiend is going to be going for the Midas, it looks like. He saved up 2,000 gold. So if they do manage to get the blink up on Brewmaster and he has a Midas, it will be free kills.
Stun onto the high ground, no follow though. Did have help behind him in the Keeper of the Light. There's 3 now concentrated in mid from Liquid, so this mid lane getting a lot of attention. Illuminate does connect on Quakefa. Clap there to help clear some creeps. Another stun, but to no real avail. Midas is now done. 8.5 minutes. Not bad.
Yeah, pretty good Midas timing, especially considering he got first blooded. I thought Korak would have more money, but he went back for the Bracer and completed the Magic Wand. If he didn't do that, he probably would have his Blink Dagger by now.
Yep.
So, looks like he just was a little afraid of dying, so he got a little more stats within the Magic Wand and the Bracer. And the hero that's been really quiet this game, but I think is going to start breaking open the game, is going to be Brax on the bottom lane.
Yep.
He hasn't done anything. He has his mana boots up, and he's level 7 now. So he's going to start hunting through the jungle and looking for kills on the Shadow Fiend, which he can solo kill him.
Yep.
100% right now with Brown Boots Midas.
I agree with you. I think Brax, the fact that he's been left completely unmolested down in that bottom lane, already has Arc Boots. And he is so high level that, I mean, what they're going to be able to do is basically use the Brewmaster and the Nyx Assassin together in tandem while the other 3 do what they need to do, push towers like we're seeing right now. And it makes the Shadow Fiend have to play so much less aggressive than he wants to in terms of his farm game. You know, usually with the Shadow Fiend, the best of the best are always ultra aggressive and how they farm them. And I don't know that he's going to have the freedom to do that, at least for the foreseeable future.
No, he's going to have to get a lot of sentries protecting his jungle from the supports, which is going to make the supports... Oh, they're bringing a recall. It looks like, is that up to top lane? And it is. They're going to secure this tower with Brax. I thought he was going to go for a kill on Shadow Fiend, but it looks like they're just going to take the safe route, which seems to be NAR style. They just want to go for a safe play, and they prioritize towers over kills. So, following up with that, I'm just waiting for this Blink Dagger on Brewmaster, and I think that's going to be the word to go as soon as that's completed.
Very close game, less than 1,000 overall net worth separating these 2 teams, and then keep in mind that's after the death of that tower. So about as close as you could possibly ask. Now it just comes down to how they transition. We're at the 10-minute mark, and this is where the laning phase really begins to see itself break down some. That top tier 1, the only tower down at the moment, they might decide to push at bottom, Liquid I do mean. It's going to be another recall as 1437 bringing in his buddy Brax.
Nope. Seems to be just transporting this Nyx around. I'd like to see this Nyx go through the jungle and look for a kill. Looks like Korak's going to be doing that right now. They can kill this Weaver. They do have the burst damage, so if Brax is able to get a stun off, I believe this Weaver will be toast. I do believe he needs to get Vendetta hit before the stun, or else they will not have enough damage.
So tricky. And it seems like collapsing on mid might be the easier kill. And up there it is. Caught him. Korok's right behind him. And waiting on it.
He could have killed him.
That was odd.
Yeah, he could have killed him.
I was a little curious. And that's kind of what I was talking about. Like, Weaver's one of those heroes that when you fail gank...
There's a smoke on top, though, real quick.
Yep, snaking. Could be in trouble. Surge. And the Hellfire Blast is there. Immediate reactions. It's going to be 2. They're definitely going to get snaking. Let's see if they can do anything about it. Fogged wanted a defensive disruption. Instead gets an offensive one. Korok's right there, as is 1437, but unwilling to super engage until they're sure they're going to be able to come through. They've got a Dazzle there. Demon coming over to make sure Way 2 makes it away. Completely safe. And in the meantime, we see Quakefa using the opportunity to push out, get some more farm, and push that middle tower. 87 CS right now at 11.5 minutes for Quakefa. He's farming okay, I think it's fair to say.
I think Korok is playing really passive for some reason.
Yeah.
He could have gone in there as well. He wouldn't have mana for both, but I think they still could have brought down that Wraith King. He was level 6, so never mind. He would have died in return, so it was good that he didn't go in there. But on bottom lane, I think they could have got the kill there. Playing a little passive, a little afraid, and that's not what you want to see out of your Panda player at this stage of the game.
And see, that's kind of what I was, before the action went up there, you know, whenever you try to gank a Weaver and fail, it's not just that you fail, it's that Weaver goes, LOL, time lapse, and I'll go back to farming with a full health bar. That's fine. The Shadow Fiend does seem to make the more appetizing target, both in terms of just overall priority, as well as just a hero that's much easier to kill. Why do you think they wanted to go for TC instead of trying to collapse mid?
I think they were fine with getting a kill either way, but I do agree with you. They should have went for the Shadow Fiend. I don't like how passive they're playing this. I think they're losing like a window here. They're in a major way.
Look at that.
So they need to start finding some picks as soon as they possibly can. I know Snaking is farming very well, which they have going for it, but Weaver and Shadow Fiend are way ahead in net worth right now. And NAR doesn't have one of those lineups where it's like, let's just weather the storm and we'll be fine. It's more like Liquid needs to be the one weathering the storm, and they're ahead right now, so that's not a good position to be in.
Been way too long since that been used.
Yes.
We talked about that during the draft and everything else. Maybe he just wanted a Blink Dagger, and if they start really giving it hell now, it should be okay, but the net worth you can see, I mean, that's a huge lead for a Shadow Fiend at this phase of the game, and he's Midas, so it's not just in terms of gold. He's beginning to, I mean, he's already level 11. And oh, he's got a double damage rune that he's going to go ahead and use now. But it looks like they're spread back out. NAR, I mean. They're kind of still locked in the laning phase a bit, and I don't think that's going to help them much.
It's definitely not. They're going to get a fast BKB on the Shadow Fiend, like the 16-minute one that has a very high win percentage. Like, it's a lot of farm, and that's one of those heroes, like, especially when you're NAR, you don't have many answers to that. But they're recalling someone in. I'm not sure who that is, but hopefully they're going to be looking for a gank here. It's going to be Brax again. Brax seems to be just being ferried all over the place by this Coddle. Not getting too many ganks off. Looks like they're going to try to defend this bottom tower. But Liquid looking good.
Yep. I feel like Liquid's doing a great job of not giving them too many openings.
Yep.
Do feel like NAR could be pushing the issue a bit more, but for the most part, just Liquid playing solid. Now they're going to bring in Korok, and they're going to make a run at this bottom tower. They need this. They really, really need this to work out for them. It's a lot more time wasted if it doesn't, and a lot more time that Quakefa's going to have to just continue to farm like all hell.
Good game from Liquid. They see it coming, and they just want to take the trade.
Yep. Creeps even spotted out. Yeah. Yep, they're just going to trade tier 1 for tier 1.
Good game from Liquid right there. They don't want to fight right now. They'll fight once they get the BKBs up. Weaver's going BKB first. So is Shadow Fiend. Once they get those two up, I'm sure they're just fine with taking team fights. Mech will be up as well. Looks like we have Panda going in the mid lane. Does the glyph up? Just a deny attempt.
And he will be able to pull back. I feel like that's actually a pretty big win for Liquid, though.
Yeah, that favors Liquid in a big way, yes.
Well, they're going to reset. Very quiet game. Only 3 kills in the first 15 minutes of this game number 4. What could be the deciding game if NAR can get things on track for them. But Liquid really looking sharp and looking like they are in good position to translate this to mid-game and translate this potentially to a 5-game series. They're now moving up the top. And let's take, haven't talked a lot about snaking. He's gone fairly greedy. He didn't go Midas, but he did go Helm of the Dominator.
Mm-hmm. And he is farming, he's catching up, he now passed the Weaver. So they do have hope late game. It's not completely lost. It's just they didn't get what they wanted out of this Panda and Nyx, I feel. They both had a very good start, but weren't able to get much out of it. But it looks like they want to try and get a team fight now, smoking behind them. This will be a 4-on-3 engagement here.
Here we go. They're coming in. They're actually relocating one in, and they're just going to try to TP away. There will be one that gets away. Boba not quite so lucky. Man left behind and brought down. And, that's handy, but Quakefa, he's fine with that. He just goes to bottom lane.
Quakefa and TC are just farming mid and bottom. They split the map. Like, this type of playstyle for me is very easy to play. Like, that's probably what Liquid's thinking going through here. It's very strong, and it's very easy to play. All you do is farm, avoid team fights, and when you get your items, go fight.
Yep.
So it's a very easy style to play, and NAR is the one that has to punish it, and they're not doing what they have to do that.
I mean, it's reaching a point, like, if you're in NAR's shoes, are you hang on, engagement in the bottom lane. Yep, he ends up splitting. A kill on Quakefa would be huge if they can get it. Brax is there to help out.
The BKB is coming on the chicken. Can they get the chicken with it on it?
Looks like they thought about it, but still getting a kill there. Quite handy dandy. That chicken does not have speed boost for a few seconds, and one more auto attack will do it. Oh, wow! No, the Purge was there. Great play from Fog to secure the courier kill. That Panda reassemble. He was literally in the attack animation with the Fire Panda, but they do get it. Like you said, that actually is so big outside of what usually you're like, oh, they got the courier great gold.
One on mid.
Yep, in mid.
No detection.
Yep, trying to find TC, unable to do so. But the fact that had his BKB is a huge freaking deal.
Yeah. I mean, he did get the BKB.
Oh, no, he did get it. Yeah, okay, I didn't think he did.
And that makes it a less of a big deal, but it does give him a kill which they wouldn't have had if he had that BKB on him.
Yep.
So, and they desperately needed that kill, and they might be able to translate that into a tower now, because Shadow Fiend does have no soul. So if he does TP in here, his ult will not be doing too much damage. Panda ult is down though, so it is a possibility to defend this, but I really doubt they'll defend this.
And Brax going to come in. The weave goes down, and Quakefa's ready to re-engage. There's going to be a vacuum into a wall. Just got Brax that time though. Quakefa ate some damage, but not a ton. He does get dusted at one well-placed raise. Gives a kill to Quakefa. Making up some ground for that death at bottom. And the tower, I didn't see, the tower was denied as well, so good play there from TC.
Good play. I didn't think they would defend that because no souls, and TC was kind of low HP just healing, but without the Brewmaster hold, it seems like they weren't able to fight.
Yep, and well, that's what we knew it would be too. Like, you're fighting around 2 ultimates. 3, really. I mean, you really need the Vendetta just as much as you need just about anything else. And if Luna shows up, she has to have Eclipse at this point. Like, she's getting farmed-ish, but she's not a show-up, right-click, and be scary hero yet.
Right. And Luna only decided to put 1 point in her ultimate, which is very strange, which means they're going to have a hard time fighting if they decide to force the issue now with Quakefa's BKB. Interesting decision making. That's full farming mode with all the points in Glaze.
Top tier 1 drops in the meantime, and Liquid continues to build on their lead. Luna, given she didn't go Midas, is actually within respectable distance of the Midas Shadow Fiend. I mean, like, to be this close is pretty damn impressive, if we're honest. But the problem is, it's not going to stay this close. It's only going to get worse as time goes on. And it looks like NAR knows it. And how many times you see this? We're going to take a Roche because we think they're pushing tier 2, and sure enough, that's what's happening.
Right. The one thing that they have going for them, I think NAR will be okay in super late game because all the utility they have if Luna gets Aegis and whatnot. But what they need to not have happen is lose all of their towers. So if they can defend all their towers and get Roche advantage, I think we're in for a fairly even game.
Top tier 2 is down to about half health. They're going to get Roche for sure. They are going to try to maybe send someone in. I don't know they're going to get there in time to really prevent this, though. No way. Yeah. So Luna grabs the Aegis, and they're going to relocate someone in. Or not relocate, but recall someone in.
So at this stage of the game now NAR cannot give up any more free towers.
Yep.
Like, at this point, if they want to stay in this game, I was afraid Shadow Fiend would get the 16-minute BKB, just start pushing down every lane, and just lose every single team fight. Well, with this Aegis on Luna, they might be able to defend it, but what they do need is, there we go, level 12 on Luna, so she gets that level 2 ultimate.
Yep.
Little greedy there, but it works out. She didn't use her ult once this game, so she's like, whatever, I'm just going to full farm mode, and they're going to catch out.
Yep, they're going to go for this. Using the ulti, Brax is there. That's just a dazzle kill, though. Don't know. They need to. They're not going to get anyone else with it. You think that's a waste? Feels like a little wasteful.
Yeah, it is waste, but they were hoping to get more out of that. I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal in the world. They can farm this out and just go farm now. It'll open up the map a little bit, but it does mean they can't really push their advantage now with that being down. They're just going to have to go back to farming.
Shadow Fiend, about 3,200 gold in the bank right now. What do you think his next item choice is going to be?
Dire's bottom tower is under
It's a tough one because he is against Drunken Haze. I know he's a big fan of going Daedalus, so I'm just going to go with, he's probably going to go for the Daedalus.
Yep. I was thinking MKB too.
MKB would be very good against the Panda. So I would like to see an MKB. Butterfly could be very good for him as well, because all the Fire Panda can't hit him. Luna will have a hard time hitting him too. So Butterfly or MKB, I believe, is the best choice. Manta's not bad either. You can get rid of some of the debuffs. Well, just one of the debuffs here, and that'll be the Brewmaster mischance. So Manta's okay, but he's going for that Daedalus. He just loves that build. I've seen his Shadow Fiend too many times now. And no matter if I feel like another item's like perfect here, he just goes for that Daedalus. He just thinks those crits are just probably the strongest thing on the hero. And I can agree to it. If he does get the crit off, it does so much damage on a hero like Shadow Fiend.
We can see Liquid protecting their own jungle.
And that's a good pickup right there. They picked up a gem on Nyx. Get the map control. Whenever Brax goes in, he'll be able to see if there's sentry scouting him out, so it'll give his positioning better.
It's going to be a Blade Mail pickup on way 2, by the way.
Yeah, he goes Blade Mail directly into Mjolnir. That's pretty much his build. And it's solid, so going into late game, he just like transitions into a carry. He takes care of the early game. I mean, there's 5-man smoke going here, but will they catch someone? Very unlikely. They're just looking for stacks.
Oh, they actually just... They've got a whole lot in the vicinity, and they're going to be spotting out TC. Now comes the fight. Way 2 going to engage. There's a vacuum wall. Korok, does he have his ulti? Can he get it off if he does? I don't think he does. No, it's on cooldown for 4 seconds. That wasted ult in mid that only got them the dazzle pick comes back to bite them hard. And that's what we were talking about the whole time, man. The fact that they have to fight around these ultimates. The Keeper of the Light's going to be there. Yeah, Disruption on the way 2. And he's going to pop back out. Here comes the TPN. Brewmaster Bob back. He's got it this time. If he can get a good blink and a clap, he's going to get him. Now the ulti split. This is a huge turnaround. Cost him a buyback. But Quickfoot is just going pure ham. The damage too high. And we're going to see Snaking has the Aegis popped. The strength...
Still has ult up online too.
Yep, the strength of Wraith King showing itself right there. They may decide to pursue this out as the BKB's now on cooldown. Rock actually disjointed by TC as he uses Shikuchi. And they are... Disruption. Just on the nick of time, so they did end up getting one more on the back of it. Still, that cost Brewmaster a buyback. The good news, if there's any, for NAR, though, is that Brew is not necessarily a hero that scales all that great with items. So the fact that his gold is diminished is not the end of the world, but 4 seconds, man. 4 seconds was the difference in that fight.
It really was. I was like, oh, don't get caught there, Korok. Your ult's almost up. That was like the worst timing ever. He probably should have positioned himself a little better, knowing that his ult was on cooldown, but... They didn't have BKB on Snaking either, so if they would have had that BKB there, I think that would have been a total different fight, and he still would have the Aegis now, but he loses the Aegis there. Not a huge deal. He now has a BKB for the next fight, but the good news for NAR is these BKB charges are going down, and they're really reliant on the BKBs being low charge cooldowns because of the heroes like Nyx Assassin and the Brewmaster and the Luna ult.
I like what they're doing here. they can't get overly aggressive, but they're trying to do as much as they can aggressively, even with those ults down.
Yeah.
If they can do this safely and not give anything back, that's really, I mean, it's just value added, basically.
That was a level 1 Wraith King ult too, so
Yep.
he's not going to have that up for another 170
That's a great
seconds.
point. I thought for sure he was level 11 by now. Daedalus is done on Quakefa, though, and we saw him just blowing heroes up. They have to account for him early in these fights.
Yeah. This game is starting to shape out to get really close.
Yep.
Gotta say. Like, that last fight was very close. It did favor Liquid a little bit, but not a big deal for NAR. Not a really game-losing fight whatsoever. So they probably just keep farming up the Luna, pull him around with Coddle. So they do have that global advantage going from. The one weakness Liquid does have as a lineup is they do not have very good gank.
Yep.
Their lineup is meant to just farm and push as a team. So Luna, I don't know why I called her Mirana, but Luna is going to be able to farm the map pretty freely without feeling threatened.
They have a chance to make a run at the Shadow Fiend, perhaps. Nope, they're just hanging back. And Quakefa was up there quite a bit. I'm surprised. Why do you think they didn't decide to at least try there?
They felt like they probably couldn't get it, but whenever you can actually just get a BKB charge, it is worth it. Nyx is the only stun they have that can just like stun him before he BKBs and burst him down.
Yep.
So Nyx is a really key hero for getting picks on Shadow Fiend and Weaver. He's been pretty quiet though on Nyx Assassin. Hasn't found too many ganks. I thought he'd get a lot more with that great start he had, but unfortunately not able to find the openings.
I continue to think it's impressive as hell, the fact that the Luna staying on par with the Shadow Fiend. The fact that Snake King is still within this reach of Quakefa, despite Quakefa having arguably better flash farm, certainly having more damage at the moment,
Yes.
and having a Midas as much or more than anything. However, Liquid is beginning to build a considerable net worth lead. They're up just about 7K.
I think Shadow Fiend right now is going to be at his strongest. This next fight is going to determine a lot. He just finished Daedalus. 25 minutes in, he has BKB Daedalus. He's hitting like a truck, especially if he crits. He's going to melt Snake King, but once Snake King's able to finish off another item, I would say Butterfly is a great item here, but at the same time, Liquid has to be looking at building Monkey King bars.
Yep.
You have Panda with his Drunken Haze and his natural dodge ability. You have a Luna who loves building Butterfly, and you have Keeper of Light, Blinding Light. You've got 3 abilities that just completely destroy heroes if they do not have their BKBs for mischance. So MKBs are going to be high on the priority list. So Butterfly's not even going to save her that much. So I think this may be a game where she goes directly into Manta into a Satanic.
But she's already got the Yasha, so it would be a much easier transition to make too. A lot quicker, if nothing else, in terms of getting out those big items. Liquid rotating down to bottom now. 10 kills in 25 minutes, so both teams playing this very, very cautiously, not wanting to give up a single death more than they have to.
A lot on the line for Liquid here. Still a lot on the line for NAR. They want to win this game, but if Liquid loses this, they are out of the international running for top 16.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Alrighty.
Dire's
Liquid
structures
showing their
are
faces and
fortified.
trying to prompt a reaction. And let's see if there's going to be a big one. They are slowly bringing him over. It looks like Liquid got cold feet there, not wanting to overextend themselves.
Yeah. And at this point, I feel like this is where they need to start getting aggressive. I feel like they're their strongest. Of course, they're going to be good the longer the game goes on, but at this point in the game in particular, they're actually really strong and can press an advantage. When they have their BKBs up, they're going to be searching the jungle. TC appears to be going for a mid-tilt hammer, so most likely that's a Deso.
Oh, mid, way too, in trouble. His ultimate put on cooldown. Let's see, there's no one around to re-engage off of it either. That's actually a very big deal for them. It's going to be on cooldown for a while now, and they're going to continue to pursue this out. Help's coming, and Brew's going to go right for it. BKB prompted out of TC, and the weave dropped down as well. Here comes the Eclipse. TC just doing work, though, on Snaking, and the vacuum comes in, but it doesn't get Snaking. Reinitiation is NAR trying to turn this around, but Quakefa had the right angle. Coming from around the side and tracking down that Luna. Ends up being a 2-for-1. They get the Wraith King as well as the Darkseer, but they have to give up Snake King to do it. I don't know that that was worth it at all.
No, it was not. I thought it was going to be a lot worse for NAR after seeing
too,
that.
actually.
Chasing that Wraith King down like that when you're already such low HP. She blew the Eclipse too, so that's going to be down. And Snake King's not a hero that can really afford to die in this lineup, whereas NAR has like 3 heroes they can fall back onto the late game. Wasn't the worst thing, like none of these fights have been like disastrous. Like it feels like most of the games I've been casting here at the International, every fight seems to be swinging like the gold graph in one way or another. They've been huge fights, but these fights have been surprisingly close.
Funny enough, NAR, by the graphs anyway, just had him flashed up, actually making up some ground over the last few minutes. So, yeah, like you said, and yeah, well, do you think that maybe that has something to do with like reining in the excitement and just basically, you know, decisions and so just like, yeah, let's go for it, are now becoming, well, we could, but maybe it's safer to stay
And on
back.
top lane, if they can get Weaver here, that'll be huge.
And the Illuminate will be on the mark, and
oh!
So close, time-lapsing with what could not have been more than 5% of his health, and TC is one happy little buggy as he scurries back to safety. That would have been a huge kill for them, actually.
Time-lapse, good spell. They had no detection yet
right.
again. If they had detection, that was a kill. That seems to be a trend in this tournament so far. People have been lacking detection. Just buy your detection.
Yep.
You're missing kills, guys.
Scepters are coming out for NAR now, though. Brewmaster finishes his, and last I checked, Keeper of the Light either had his or was damn close.
He does have an Ag Scepter.
Did he get it up?
They have one on Panda as well. Their
Yep.
Scepters are up.
All right, so we're officially getting to that point where we discuss the importance of the early game and the mid game to death, but late game's looming on the horizon.
Yes.
We see how far ahead Koikfe is. He is opened up a bit of a bigger gap. Still, honestly, not as big as I would have thought it would be. Taking some Ancients to add to it as we speak. But in terms of the utility, you talked about that for NAR being a big plus looking into the later stages of the mid game and into the late game. Break that down.
Well, for the most part, I still give Liquid a huge advantage coming into the late game, just because Darkseer, Wraith King, and the other two cores that are extremely farmed right now are really, really strong in the late game, whereas Panda falls off. Shadow Demon's still good all game. Caudle, I feel like, falls off as well, and Nyx Assassin kind of falls off too. So I believe right now, within the next 10-15 minutes, is NAR's opportunity to win. They can still win late game if they get a really farmed Luna, but if they get too much farm on this Wraith King and Darkseer, Luna can't do it alone.
Speaking of Luna, she did end up going with the Manta.
And I kind of want to see like a Satanic out of her right now.
I think it's needed.
Yeah, it's going to be really good for her. Butterfly is good. I mean, I would make it too if I don't see MKBs going up, which TC has a Desolator. On top, they have, that's actually got to hurt. They got Desolator, Weave, and Presence of the Dark Lord right now. They can actually just melt all of Panda's
way too. Could be in trouble. They're engaging from multiple angles, but they're playing so weirdly about it because they don't want to rush uphill into the blind. Way 2 could end up dying here. He has his ultimate on the ready. Now they might want to re-engage. Here they come. Koikfe and TC coming up the river, and there's going to be the Eclipse, but BKBs are out. Manta from Luna, but the right click is so huge out of Koikfe. He is just going to work ultimate, helping to clear them out even more. They finally track down Luna up near the secret shop, and there's going to be a grave, and we talked about how good this could be. Koikfe being bought some time. The Pandas still have some time left on them, but Rock comes out. Koikfe, though, just regenning health so much, and makes it a triple kill for TC and a double kill for Koikfe. Full 5-man wipe, and Roche is about to make it 6. Could not have played out better, and this is why you draft the Wraith King. They had the jump on it, but it didn't matter. When that ultimate is up, this tends to happen.
Panda is feeling so useless right now with all this minus armor, and as I was saying with the heals, Koikfe was about to die. With a Daedalus and a Monkey King barring him, he just right-clicked with the aura from the Wraith King and just healed back to full. On top of Dazzle graving him, you just can't kill this hero. This type of drafting is just way too strong. We've seen EG do it tons of times before, and it's no wonder they have like a 100% win rate with it.
Tier 3, now the target. There was a buyback amidst all that, by the way. Nyx did buy back and didn't do a whole hell of a lot on the back of that.
And I feel at this point, Luna no longer like does anything.
Nope.
There's an interesting mechanic here. The blinding light was used on Koikfe, even though he has a Monkey King bar, and he still could not hit a tower. I'm not sure if that's a bug, but it does not work on the buildings at all. That much is for sure.
Yep. Yeah, they changed that a while ago. I remember back in the day, I was trying to go back in my head in patches because they had, but yeah, MKB no longer has any effect in terms of. Remember, because you used to be able to siege from the low ground.
Yeah.
And if you had MKB, can't do that anymore.
Yeah,
so.
You just can't hit it. Period with blinding light now, even if you're not low grounding. I wasn't actually fully aware of that.
Yep. Well, there's the. Mentioned it during the draft. Blinding light is kind of a big deal. Problem is, I don't think it's a big enough deal.
No.
To buy Snaking the time he needs. He needs more items, and he needs them soon.
Yeah, and this is what we've been seeing with a lot of the Brewmaster picks. If he gets off to a good start and starts rolling, seems unstoppable. But if he doesn't have that good start, he starts to feel like kind of a burden.
Yep. Well, I mean, we saw how passive he was early on. And, it kind of was a worst of both worlds. He held on to his ultimate a couple of times when we both felt like he could have used it. Then when he does use it, it ends up getting them nothing, and there's a huge return fight at bottom that ends up being lost because of that. And, yeah, I don't feel like they've gotten max mileage out of this, and Koikfe is, well, he's big. He's about one big item ahead now of Luna, up to about 6K overall net worth lead on her alone. The next closest is the Weaver, which is also on his team. He's 8 to 9K ahead of him.
Yeah, they're both like Luna right now just melts.
Yeah.
Straight up, she just melts. The only good news NAR has going for them is they do have this Keeper of the Light, which means they can extend the game for a very long portion of the game, but they still have the worst late game. So what they're basically relying on is hoping Liquid takes a bad team fight, and then they can get something out of it off of an extremely farmed Luna. But in straight engagements, this Luna isn't going to stack up to these Wraith King and Weaver and Shadow King heroes. It's just not going to happen.
Looks like both teams taking a moment to catch their breath. This is game number 4 of Liquid versus NAR in the America Qualifier Grand Finals. NAR leads the series by 1. And a win here will lock in their full win and guarantee their seat in the bracket of 16. Liquid, though, looking like they've got this one under control and looking like we're very likely to have a game 5.
It does look that way indeed, and Brax has just been hiding in the trees. I think that's twice he's TBO. He's just looking for someone to overextend and maybe get a pick off. He can't do much else because at this stage of the game, his skill set is not able to kill any of their guys.
We see the Maelstrom is the pickup, by the way, for Way 2.
Yeah.
You called that one. And it looks like they're about ready to go and take what could be one of the few remaining fights in this game if they continue to steamroll the way they have so far. Brewmaster has his ulti up. Luna should have hers. But look at this tower. That's with backdoor protection. Like, that's how much damage they're doing right now.
That is a problem. And they're just going to keep Blade Mill on top of the Illuminate. It's always cute, but when he has the Ags, it doesn't really hurt him that much.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, looks like middle tier 1 being raced. Liquid's going to push a little faster, I can tell you that. Blinding Light, the Blinding Light actually didn't get Koikfa. That's kind of a big deal.
They're pushing mid instead. It looks like they just want to trade Raxes, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to unless they start throwing heroes in there as rebuys.
Yep. Yeah, there's no way they're out pushing Liquid. It's just not happening. And they're going to be able to get back in plenty of time to clean this up. And yeah, if they get the tier 3 in bottom, or in mid, I'll be kind of surprised. Yeah, they didn't even get to tier 3. So just a complete and utter loss. But, I mean, I think that speaks to where they know they are. They literally just could not come to fight. It would have been probably a lost game right there.
Yeah, I mean, if Liquid wins one more fight, the game's over. Whereas NAR needs to win like 3 to 4 more fights to get back into this game.
BKB done on Bulba. And, you know, we're at 35. This has really been a very quiet game.
Yeah, both teams playing fairly passive, but Liquid drafted for that. NAR was the one that had to put the pressure on, and unfortunately, without putting enough pressure on, this is a situation they kind of dug themselves into.
Yep. Luna has picked up her Assault Cuirass. How do you feel about that as opposed to Lifesteal?
I do like armor because if you look at Liquid's lineup with the Weaver, the Shadow Fiend, and the Dazzle, there is so much minus armor, she just melts. So I do like it, and Butterfly would have been useless too because they're starting to pick up MKBs. Weaver, oh, they're going to catch out Snaking here.
Yep,
they
that's the BKB.
TP.
I don't think they're going to be able to catch him.
Oh, the turnaround.
Yep, and there's the Grave. Buying time for TC to come in, though.
Yeah, they're going to get him eventually.
Yep, and that's so much right click, even just from the Weaver with the Desolator. And, of course, with the Weave. And, yep, see you back at the base. Staking. Takes a trip home, and that's a mega kill for TC. And looks like nothing is really going the way of NAR now.
Yeah, I don't know what they can do anymore. Like, if Liquid makes a major mistake, maybe they can come back, but even if they do make mistakes, they still have a lot of room to work with.
Yep.
So I feel like they're just waiting to push down the lanes, and NAR has to get really creative right now.
So I want to point out, that's a heart done on Weaver and a satanic done on the Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, I'm sure the gold graph is absolutely disgusting around. Yeah, we got 12K. I thought it would be more than that, to be honest with you.
They're going to re-engage. Koikva's right there. Actually ends up being stunned on the carapace, so not going to be able to pursue him out, at least not for the moment. They tried to push in mid. Up at top, though, they've got Bulba shoving in top lane already. And down at bottom, one set of racks already down. And this is basically just all Liquid's game to win or to lose.
Yeah. Alright, so the gold graph is actually closer than I thought, but the gold is on the wrong heroes for NAR. I feel like both the supports are pretty farmed, actually. And there's a lot of farm on this Panda, too, but this is where I think the gold graph can kind of lie at times. There's a lot of gold on Panda, but I don't think any of that gold on Panda is even relevant at this point.
No.
Because he can just right-click, the Weaver and the Shadow can just right-click on both his Brewmasters, or the Broodlings, whatever you want to call them. They just die in like 3 hits each. I just imagine as soon as he pops that, they're just going to get right-click down and Brew's going to die instantly.
And NAR coming out. Disruptions there, TC. right there to help as well. Those illusions will do some damage, but they should be able to melt them down without a whole lot of muss or fuss. We're going to catch a couple. Illuminate, Clips, Qualifier, and Way2. Blinding Light as they try to rush, and they're just going to go for it. Way2 has his Blade Mill popped, and the right-click gigantic on this Tier 3 tower. Last breath, last stand for NAR if they want to try and take the series here. Another disruption as they tried to get out. TC, though, able to scurry away with Shikuchi. And looks like they are just going to go ahead and back, taking 0 chances.
Yeah, and this kind of goes back for me looking onto like the next game right now is this Luna pick does not seem to be fitting NAR's playstyle. Every time they run this Luna, it struggles. They're not able to get what they want accomplished in the early game, and I'm not seeing it work too well. And come the next game, which they can still possibly win this game, it's just a very slim chance. I just don't want to see another Luna pick out of them. It does not fit their style.
Yeah. They're looking to make something happen. It seems like something Liquid's been so good about is when they are caught out, it's always like a dazzle. You know what I mean? Like, you're not seeing Qualifier caught out all that often. Now, we're going to see Way2 go for it, just rushing uphill, and can't get past the illusions. Blinding Light is there as well. They're all spread out. Qualifier hanging out in the trees over to the side. And Brax is going to be spotted. Carapace buys him some time. Impale actually caught 3. Well shot. Don't know. Nope. I was going to say don't know if that'll be enough, and it certainly will not. So he drops, and that's a mega kill streak for Qualifier at the end of it. Handy-dandy little Yule Scepter.
Indeed it was. But that just basically summarizes how they take team fights. Like,
Yep.
It's like, all right, let's go in, but as soon as they see them, okay, maybe we can't do anything.
Yeah.
And they're just going to go straight down mid, and they're going to probably run into the same problem.
Qualifier's gigantic. I mean, just literally gigantic. 27,000 overall net worth. I would love to know what his GPM is right now.
Yeah, they just can't kill that hero.
Yep. 665 GPM. He's had to have been running at 665 for basically 40 straight minutes. Like, maybe 35. And disruption onto him. By a little bit of time, there's going to be a weave as well. That'll help. Qualifier is taking a fair amount of damage from his own illusions. They might want to account for those. There, now BKB, Bulba goes in, beautiful vacuum wall, but everyone's kind of just staying away. Like, they know they can't really fight here. And if they can't even defend their racks and they're really unable to even come back out, I'm not even sure why they haven't just called GG at this point.
I'm confused too, but they feel like they have some type of comeback mechanic, but they've given away 2 racks as uncontested, completely uncontested. They didn't catch out TC. He will get the time lapse up, back to full HP, still has the BKB up. Do they choose to turn this, or are they just going to leave him out to dry?
He's going to BKB. Just to stay safe. Sorry, Brew. And a haste. Just in case you thought there was any chance maybe you would catch him. Not going to be the case. So, yeah, NAR continues to stay in the game, even though, again, like, they honestly didn't even muster a defense there.
No, they didn't. I'm not sure what they're expecting, and maybe they're expecting a full, like, Liquid versus Union throw.
Maybe.
Going into the Tier 4s,
Suddenly.
but it looks like Liquid is done with playing like that, so that doesn't seem to be, like, a possibility.
Hoping for, like, an Eye of Scotty on Dazzle.
Yeah, that would actually
Legit.
be good, too.
Legit. Legit.
So I don't even know.
Well, for the moment, the game rolls on. And NAR trying to extend their life in this game. Very likely, though, looking to be very, very likely that we are going to be going to a Game 5. Liquid versus NAR with a direct seat into the 16-team bracket at the International 2014. Roche responds. This will be Cheese Roshan as well. And it's going to be spotted immediately. So they're right in the vicinity. Think NAR can even challenge this?
No, they can't fight ever, no matter what.
Ever. For any reason, never. Qualifier moves in, and Qualifier can solo this, and will. Like, it's not even close. It's not even remotely a question of whether or not he can do this by himself. So, looking ahead to the next game, that's really all we have to talk about. You know, talk to me about this Luna pick. Hold on. Brax going to be stunned out, and Way2 shows his back to him because the hell with you, I guess. Yeah, he's literally just saying, okay, come engage through me, I dare you. Like, that's really what he just did. He just turned around and said, come fight me, come kill me. We're happy if you do that.
Indeed, they have the Cheese on Dazzle now and Aegis on TC, and we're about to see the mid push.
Should be the game-ending push, but the Luna pick didn't work out. Brew didn't work out. What would you like to see out of NAR in the next game?
I want to see them secure a Dragon. I feel like they really do well with that hero. I like the Lycan as well, maybe banned, but I think they should probably just either Enchantress, Dragonite, or Lycan. 3 heroes I said they play really well again, but I don't want to say Luna again, that's for sure. They don't seem to be playing very well with Luna.
Last engagement of the game, looking to perhaps get underway. There's a disruption to lead. Snaking sitting with Brax.
Just another 3 racks, why not?
Yeah.
Let's do it again on top lane, guys.
Yep. Like, this actually surprises me. Like, this has got to be a long, stressful series for both teams. Like, if you're NAR, why don't you just GG out and call it and just be like, okay, let's shake this off.
It's mind games. They're trying to mentally fatigue Liquid here.
Can only imagine. I mean, Butterfly now up on the Shadow Fiend. Scythe of Ice is done on the Brewmaster. The Scythe, I mean, it helps, kinda. I mean, I guess it maybe you can get a pick on the Shadow Fiend now.
Yeah, the one mistake I see here is like not having Rebuy and Koiko seems like a useless thing to do. Like, they're so far ahead. I don't think finishing that Butterfly helps them win the next fight at all. But if she somehow does die and doesn't have Rebuy, there is a possibility NAR can get a Rax off of it. So I think that was kind of risky to try and finish an item without Rebuy at this stage of the game. But good luck trying to kill that Shadow Fiend at the same time.
Yeah. Kind of strong. He's got a ton of lifesteal. Just a ridiculous amount.
Yeah, he can just A-click into their base, and I think all of them could do that and they'd win this game.
Here we go. Fog brought in, and they're ready to push. And what should be the last push, unless NAR pulls a miracle.
Defense?
Yep, they're trying. Haste Rune plus Disruption. There's going to be a weave that catches a few. I mean, minus armor's legit. Let's just see how much he can get out of it. TC doesn't care that he's mana leaked.
They're kind of defending. They're spamming him.
It just really, it's not making much of a difference. Tier 3 still standing. They're going to pull back. Shadow Wave, a little bit of a heal. Snaking coming out to help push the wave out a little bit more. But yeah, look at bottom. It takes everything they have just to buy 60 seconds for that Tier 3. In the meantime, the bottom of their base is being hollowed out. Ready to crest it again. Charging uphill. Tier 3 down. There's going to be another disruption, and they may have to engage. They have to. Here comes Brew. And Quakefoot going to be caught with the grave. He should be able to make it out of this. Actually, no, he's going to get stunned out. The damage is okay. The Aegis is popped off of Weaver and the Yules, or excuse me, the Air Spirit. Tossing Quakefoot into the air, but now the BKB. He has Satanic. He's back to full health. Snaking did what he could. He'll be pursued all the way back to the fountain, but it's not going to matter, as this should be Megas. And Quakefa can't do the damage, actually. That's annoying, but finally able to bring it down. And they may push it until literally mega creeps. Yeah, they're still going. Luna.
Literally nothing to talk about.
That's what they're waiting on. The desperation rapier, and just hoping, I suppose, that they can charge down mid lane.
All right.
And
let's see it.
Hey, it's naked racks, man. Yeah, it's naked racks, though, dude. Naked racks.
It is naked. And Quakefoot will have rebuy this time. All right, it's rapier time.
Let's go, Suns. Let's see if they can keep him alive long enough.
This will be the best comeback in the history of Dota.
It will.
If they can manage to pull this one together. Oh, Weaver is just chipping on the throne. He does have a TP and rebuy, so... Well, that's that.
Yep. Hey, turn around, guys! Bad idea, bad idea! And now he's going to BKB and kill them. He's actually just going to TP away. So, all right. So, Megas. And missing a Tier 4, and your death charge down mid is derailed by one little bug. Excellent.
This is the most anticlimactic game
I've
really
ever
seen in my life.
It's 46 minutes and 23 kills. Like, it has been a bit of a grind.
Like, they're going to defend the base, the push.
No, they're not.
They're going to go down mid with the rapier.
No, they're not. No. Now they're going to go down mid. Got to get the equilibrium going, even though they've got a wave of creeps that are banging on the Tier 4s back at the house, too. And that bottom lane is pushing in perpetually. Are they just going to, like, send Luna alone? So, go get him. Yeah, I would imagine that Liquid will be putting the cherry on top of this one momentarily.
We should just mute our mics and just have Dota play for the rest of this game.
Yep. All right, here we go. They're bringing the Luna back. They need a win, and he's out front by himself. He ends up manting. BKB's there. He's doing decent damage. Brewmaster's there with the split. Quakefa is very low. He's going to be brought back, and they're trying to turn around. Snaking does end up going down. The rapier's dropped. And let's see. Yep, now they're going to call it immediately. Didn't even see who picked it up. Who got it? Looks like it was TC. Well, was it worth it?
Absolutely not.
Worth it? Took him a while, but it took him fighting through a rapier. But in 48 minutes, Liquid caps it off and forces this best-of-5 series all the way to a 5-game conclusion. And really, I mean, what it comes down to, at least, we talked about it all game. We had 48 minutes to talk about it, actually. We talked about it all game. A failure to capitalize on potential in your heroes early on.
I mean, they need to do more with the Brew and Nyx Assassin, I feel, that game to really be in the game.
Right.
So they weren't able to do that. And I don't know, just slowly but surely against a lineup like that, if you just take it to the late game, that's going to happen. You're going to be in a situation where you're utterly helpless.
Welcome to the set, of course. Again, Merlini and Synderen. From your guys, where you were sitting, what do you think?
Their draft just didn't have that much room for error. Once you looked at what happened when Liquid got their BKB on Shadow Fiend, it was just like they can't really do anything unless Snaking's really far ahead. But I remember the one pickoff on top, and it was only like a couple ganks. There weren't that many kills in the whole game to begin with, but Shadow Fiend just farmed massively. And if Luna is like just even falters in her quest to get it on the same or above net worth and Shadow Fiend, then they're going to lose.
Yeah, but he actually hung for a while. He was right in that range, but they just never could get over the lip of it. And how do you feel about like what Fear and I had to say about it? Like you said, there wasn't a whole lot of room for error. I don't feel like they got a lot of mileage out of the Brew to begin with, and then the Nyx Assassin, the way that it looked like that could work, just never came together.
First pick Brew is a little risky, I'd say. You have to see what the opponents are going for. Like Shadow Fiend and Weaver, they're not the easiest to kill, especially they can actually kill the pandas too, which is something that we actually haven't seen too often.
Very loud.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. And they had a lot of minus armor to chip through BKBs too, so BKB Wars was clearly going in favor. So Dazzle's a pick that we haven't actually seen too much in 6.81, but they utilized it well, and just so much physical damage coming out. They couldn't do anything. It was very difficult for him to itemize too, because he couldn't get Butterfly, because he's already going to get MKB for the Drunken Brawler, the Drunken Haze, and the Blinding Light.
Yeah, Fear talked about that during the game.
So yeah, you can't get that, so you have to go for AC, and it's not the optimal item choice, and I don't even think Luna was the optimal hero for them.
Right.
No,
Synderen, something to add to that?
What items did Shadow Fiend have when they base pushed the first time, got the first Rex? Did he have the Satanic yet?
I want to say he had the Helm of the Dominator. And
I don't remember.
No, the Satanic came later. Satanic came about the time that the Heart came out for Weaver. So he was rocking a Daedalus, he was rocking a Helm of the Dominator, as well as he still had his Midas at that point. And BKB, yeah.
Because then I don't understand why they didn't try to fight for the first Rex. Because before he has the Satanic, you jump in with the Brewmaster, you start the fight, you split, and then you tornado the Dazzle, so he can't grave.
Exactly.
And then you focus the Shadow Fiend. We saw they actually tried it toward the end in the defense of the top Rex. That was really, really close. That was when they had the Hex. So they Hex out the Shadow Fiend first, they go for him, Clutch Grave comes off, he stays alive, he uses the Satanic, he hits twice full HP.
Right.
So I think without the Satanic, there is room for a little bit of misplay from Liquid, and then NAR can actually take that fight.
Right.
The moment you wait until your racks are fallen with a lineup that has worse late game. I mean, it's one thing that you are worried about losing the fight. If you have the better late game, you can be like, okay, we try to turtle a bit, we can sacrifice a lane of barracks, we'll come back later. You are not winning late game against Weaver and Shadow Fiend with a solo core Luna. It's just not going to happen. Brewmaster falls off heavily in late game, and I'm wondering what the reasoning was if they were actually trying to wait for that Hex. They waited so long that it was over by that point, which is unfortunate because maybe they had the chance, but I feel like we're seeing a different Liquid today. I want to put that out there, because they are really picking a lot of more different heroes, and I think TC has been getting a lot of criticism. I feel like this game with the Weaver made a lot of sense, putting him on that, the way he played. And at the same time, Koikva, you just don't give Shadow Fiend a completely free lane. Brewmaster against him, no ganks, I think. A single gank. Did he get ganked once?
Yeah, he got ganked once.
He got ganked once.
Right.
And then he still had 100 CS in 13 minutes.
We saw them pressure the Weaver. That was kind of my question. I even posed this to Fear. Is they were pressuring the Weaver. They tried to gank him 2 or 3 times, while the Shadow Fiend just sat by himself in mid lane. That seems like a much more appetizing target, and one that's much more forgiving, because usually even if you kind of flub it, he's still at that point. BKB's not out. He's going to fall if you manage to get the jump on him. Whereas with Weaver, we saw 2 fail ganks where he just time-lapsed and ran away. I feel like that's missing a lot of potential they could have had there. So looking ahead to Game 5, give me your rundown, guys. I mean, I said 3-2 for NAR, so I stick to that.
I'm out of the running.
Yep.
I'm out of the running.
I always ask you guys, like, what you think we're going to see. Why don't you tell me, starting with Fear, what you think is most essential for both teams?
Same thing as last time.
Same thing?
To be honest.
Nothing changes.
With those 2 teams.
Any tweaks, anything you'd like to see done differently?
I mean, if they're going to play a more aggressive lineup on NAR, they just need to play more aggressive.
Yeah.
It's about right. Liquid tends to win late game fights, and they tend to be a little bit greedier in their drafts. So if you're gonna gear for late game, at least have the lineup for it.
Got it. Syndrin?
I think the mid lane's the most important lane in this matchup.
Right.
Mid lane in general is really important, but
they went pretty even.
It's what I mean is not as necessarily about how they match up against each other, but the heroes coming out of it.
Okay.
The Shadow Fiend in this game was an absolutely huge impact. Korok, when he gets his Dragon Knight, like Fear was talking about, when they get the mid lane to really be effective with Korok, I feel like those are the games where NAR just doesn't just win the game, but absolutely crushes it. I'm assuming they won't be getting the IO at all, which is kind of the only thing they really run dual lane mid with.
Probably.
For the most part.
Which team's on Radiant now? It's going to be NAR, right? They
I
just
think
swap,
so.
or it's a coin flip for the fifth.
Maybe coin flip,
No,
but I'm not sure.
we're not sure. I think
rules.
since NAR came through the upper bracket, I think the advantage was the coin flip was game 1 and NAR got it.
Okay.
But just as their advantage. So I would imagine that yes, for this game they should have the advantage there. So if they won Radiant, it should be theirs.
Has Dire won in this best of 5?
It's a good question. Have they?
Has Dire won?
No, they
I don't
haven't.
think
No,
so.
no. I
Liquid
think
won
you're
both
right.
games on
I think
Radiant.
Yeah.
So
Radiant's winning them all.
I'm just thinking. I feel like in this game, so the mid lane is really important, but the Radiant off lane seems to have a huge impact,
Yeah.
especially now that
a
teams
great
are putting
point.
a little less emphasis on heroes like Lycan and generally being better at guarding Roshan
Right.
overall. The Radiant teams are seeming like they get better at that. If I were to choose personally, I feel like being on Radiant gives you more options in the draft because you can offlane so many more different heroes.
Offlane's
Right.
much easier.
The mid lane, Radiant versus Dire, I feel like is pretty even. Maybe Radiant has a little bit of positional advantage against ganks, but
Right.
overall that's fairly even. And then the safe lane, to be honest, I feel like doesn't really matter too much. But the
Right.
off lane is just so incredibly huge that if Dire does not take advantage of the Roshan, then I feel like Radiant is just the better side. That's
Yeah,
what
you-
Dire has to bring.
You have to take care of Dire. I completely agree with that.
Or they can
'cause-
aggro try.
Yeah.
A lot of the success that we've seen Korok on Panda, he's actually in the off lane
Mhm.
on Dire. So it's
The
an
aggro
option.
try does help. It's a lot harder to pull off. It's really
Yeah.
risky because if they build a strong lane, aggressive dragons get easily punished. People have them figured out for the most part. But if you get a good lane, that is a way to deal with like the discrepancy you get from having Dire and Radiant.
Well, we'll find out how it's all going to play out. We're going into Game 5 of the America Qualifier Grand Finals. NAR and Liquid all knotted up 2 apiece. The winner of this next game will secure themselves a permanent slot in the bracket of 16 at the International. The other, well, they'll be going to Seattle, but they'll have a much longer road ahead of them if they want to make it to the big stage at Key Arena coming up this July. I'm AC. This is Fear, Merlini, and of course, Syndrin. We'll all be back after the game, but for now, a short break. Stick with us here on the North American Hub coverage of the International 4 presented by Monster Energy. We'll be right back.